All right, guys, let's get into this. It's not Halloween unless I've done a Halloween make of some kind. So I cut out the pattern, which is by SVG Cuts, and I think I've cut out most of the pieces at this point. And I'm just inking the edges. Most of it is made out of black, at least the base part is made out of black, so I don't really have to worry about inking those edges. But my little accent pieces, which are, of course, black and white stripes, no surprise there, right? At all. Um, and so I just went around and inked those edges. And now I decided to do the roof. And I'm using corrugated paper, which I bought from Joann's and I cut with my Cricut. Make sure you use a pretty strong grip mat and your deep cut housing blade, and it worked pretty good. It did not give me super clean edges like going horizontal, but not a big deal at all. And with corrugated, remember that if you airbrush one direction, you're probably going to need to shoot it a few different other directions too if you do not want that corrugated cardboard to show from different angles. I did, I think, two tones on most of the pieces. There are about 7 or 8 pieces for the roof, and boy, was it fun. I think this just came out so fun, so colorful, so very like me. For this, I went ahead and inked the edges with black Distress ink by Tim Holtz with my little Ranger. It's the Ranger holder, but actually the foam is from scrapbook.com. That foam is not great for this particular technique because it flicks off. It's not a dense foam. It's like that light styrofoamy kind of thing, which I don't love, but not a big deal. It made a mess, but not a big deal. And then you see that I went direct to paper a little bit too, and then just kind of blended it out. And then I just glued all the pieces to the roof. SVG Cuts has a wonderful walkthrough of how to assemble this. I'm just kind of giving you guys my overview and little tips and tricks about it, but I'm not showing you exactly how to put this thing together. It took me a couple of days. I wasn't rushing. I started early enough to have this for the beginning of October, and no worries. So I decided that I wanted to airbrush the actual fairy house, the pumpkin part, and I used birchwood paper for that, and then just my airbrush, and it worked out pretty well. I knew that I wanted to use the stamp set, again from Ranger, Tim Holtz, Stampers Anonymous. Not Ranger, it's Stampers Anonymous actually. Still the same designer, Tim Holtz. I'm in love with this set. It is probably one of the best Halloween sets that he has come out with this little witch and everything. I shouldn't call her a witch. She's a skeleton and she's posed. And I love putting her on vellum and lighting her up. It's just, I love it. I think it came out last year. Love her. And I color these from the back. So I stamp on the front and then color them on the back with Tombow markers. For whatever reason, my Copics don't blend well on vellum, so nope. And I use Stays On ink to stamp her. You see that pumpkin up there in the top left? He's been colored from the back. The mummy I colored really fair, like super light colors, so I just drew a line in the window so that I knew how to line him up so that he wasn't crooked, and then just matched it all up. I don't show myself putting together that pumpkin. It took a little bit of time, and I did not use my favorite art glitter glue. I used old school Scotch tacky glue. It works better birch to paper, because remember that paper right there is wood paper, and I needed something that was a little bit thicker, stronger, that would really hold, because that paper curves like the dickens. Once it gets cut, it's going to curve. Just be ready for that, especially the direction that I cut it, which is up and down. You can see that the grain is going up and down, and it curves to the center. So be ready for that. You gotta want it. So it took me a little while, but the pumpkin is easy to put together. You just have to hold it. You have to be patient, pinch and hold. And now I'm decorating the outside of this guy. I really wish I had colored the back panels. I really wish I colored the front panels the colors that I colored the back. It's too much yellow in the front. The two yellows that I mixed just were not the best yellow combination. It didn't give me the best ombre. But I tried to make up for that with adding a bunch of accents that were super colorful on the yellow to kind of take some of that yellow down. I'm using my tacky glue to adhere the paper around the sides. This is the first glue that I ever fell in love with. The art glitter glue is the second. But it turns out I still need both of them, so I'm glad that I keep both of them around. I also like that acetone beacon glue too. It's a good one to keep around. But I'm just gluing the accents around the front. Now, I did a lot of customization with this pattern. It took me a little bit of time, but I cut holes. When I say customization, I mean I was in the Cricut software cutting out holes and adding pieces and blah, blah, blah. But I really liked the way that it turned out. I knew that I wanted 4 windows in there. You'll see the difference between my pattern and then the original pattern. And I believe I resized this. You know, I make everything bigger. I make a lot of things bigger, I should say, with the SVG. And it was a ton of work. So I'm not trying to tell you guys to do it. I'm just saying it can be done. This pumpkin is pretty big. It's not huge, but you guys see it's a good size. And the original one is definitely smaller than this. Something else that I did was I cut the windows so that I could make my own little like flower boxes. If you look at the original pattern, you'll see the difference. So here I'm putting the bottom on. I already have a box in there with a panel on top just to give it some stability, which is part of the pattern. And now I'm just going around and putting the top or bottom, I think this is the top panel on, using my paper glue. Paper to paper, I have no problem with the art glitter glue. When I'm trying to glue something a little bit heavier down, I'm reaching for the tacky glue. And I was so upset that I didn't have any distress collage medium because I totally needed it for this because, well, no, I didn't need it. I made it through without it, but I wanted it. So I have an order for that in too. Distress collage medium, which has the drying time of now. And it's thick and it adheres metal to stuff and it shrinks down. So if you get a little extra, you really don't have to worry about it being seen. A lot of good stuff about that Distress Collage medium. Why don't I have any? Why don't I have it? And I bought the one in the jar and the one in the tube. So some other glue that you should have around. And that is the base that this is going to sit on top of. So to add some texture to the strip that goes around to hide the sides, I went ahead and ran it through a Cuttlebug folder. And this is an embossing folder, so you see the paper is plain and you put it through there and then it has instant brick pattern. I love that brick pattern. I wish they made it in a larger folder. I wish all these folders came larger. I need them to get on the slimline larger folder, which I'm sure is coming because slimline is slowly but surely trickling in. Old school Tattered Angels. Shout out to the people who know what Tattered Angels is. That's that bottle there of liquid, and it's just a shimmer spray, but this is my favorite color, fully purple, and I wish I could get more of it because it's kind of amazing. Super purple, more purple than Diane's purple, just a different purple, and I love it. I bust it out for Halloween probably every year because it's pretty and it's totally my kind of purple. These are those Tim Holtz flowers, and I'm just going to break them apart, and then I'm going to saturate them with different colors. More sprays. You see I have those Dilution sprays to the right by Diane Reevely. And those are just to color these roses and throw some color down on that brick wall. I shot it with a few different colors. So now after, see, look to the left, you'll see all of my flowers over there, black, blue, gold, pink. And then I'm putting them in the little flower boxes with those green, leaves, vines that I have airbrushed different colors. So they kind of got gradients to them, a little bit different. And I am hot gluing it to oh no, I'm not hot gluing it. I hot glued them inside, but I'm just using regular wet glue, art glitter glue, to put these on the outside. I'm surprised that I didn't hot glue that to the side, but whatever, it all works. You just got to hold it for a few seconds and it's on there. So I cut out the door and I airbrushed it. Yeah, obviously I can blend, but airbrushing is so much faster. And I found out through this project that I can shoot Distress Oxide, which means that I can control the oxide, and that makes me happy because, throwing these down or spraying stuff is cool, but you can't control it. So if you want a background that's more controlled, I suggest you guys get a little cheap airbrush gun and put the stuff down in there and shoot it. So I decided that I wanted like grass for the bottom of the fairy house, the fairy pumpkin house. So at first I thought, okay, I'll trace it and then cut it out. And then I thought, well, why am I tracing this? I could just glue this down and cut it out and it would be even more sturdy. So that's what I ended up doing. So right now you see me tracing it, but then you'll see me just glue it down and then I'll cut around it. I'm using my Tonic Tim Holtz scissors because they cut through just about anything. Those scissors do not fail me. I have lots of pairs of those scissors. And believe it or not, I want more. I want the black handles. I think I have 2 black handle pairs. I don't know, but you just can't have enough of those scissors. And now you see me vacuuming up all of that little grass because it is going to make a little bit of a mess. But I was prepared for it. I have my little craft vacuum. I also have the We Are Memory Keepers glitter vacuum too somewhere. And here we are. And make sure that you are doing these opposite of one another. Do not put them down the same way because you need the grass to face up. And so now I'm just folding it in, and you see that I also airbrushed the fence, or sprayed the fence with, airbrush sprays in some kind of rainbow-esque order. They look a little Valentine's Day to me, but whatever. They're cute. It goes. And then I'm just going to glue them onto this thing. I wish that I had lined this up a little bit better, but this was my first time putting this cottage together. I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd do it again because you guys know once I do something, I'm over it, but you never know. So then I just glue that down to the side, but I realized that the inside is brown. So let's go on ahead and camouflage that. It's in the details sometimes. Sometimes it's worth going the extra mile. And now see how it fits? Boy, it's so cute. It's such a cute little fairy house. So I'm using my art glitter glue here, and we're just going to press that down. Then we are going to take the other one and put it on the other side. When I shot these, I wanted to shoot them opposite of each other, as in the color order, and it turned out being the same. Oh well, no worries. And so we glued that down in place. I just kind of was measuring to make sure that I was going to be able to fit that in the center without any issues, and that it really guides where it goes so that it's centered. No problem. Isn't that cute? Now it has a little grass area. It has a little yard. And that big old pumpkin pretty much covers that yard too, so. And now I'm gluing the front panels on and the side panels on that I use that shimmer spray, which makes for a really cute brick pattern that is shimmery. Using art glitter glue here, paper to paper, not a problem. Look at that purple stuff. Doesn't it feel all extra Halloween? Love it. Love the ombre. Love the colors. Again, those are those Dilution shimmer sprays that I used. I used, I think, certainly a purple and I think a blue. I don't think I used the fuchsia, which is unlike me because I just, for whatever reason, magenta, fuchsia is rocking my world right now. Love it. Ooh, look at that. Oh, isn't the light picking that up great? So it goes all the way around, But when you get to the sides, it is oversized so that it sticks up a bit so that you can hide some of your fence and stuff. You can use that to your advantage. Just remember that when you're adding the glue, you want to add the glue to the bottom portion and not the top because it's going to be sticking up. So just something to kind of remember. And then we'll add this last brick panel on the front here. I use some kind of greenish color there. Don't love it, but don't hate it. And you see my little door. I haven't placed my door on there yet. And there we go. It just kind of fits right in that shape there. So here's the part that I was telling you about. Make sure you keep it at the bottom. Do not go all the way to the top. You see how I'm leaving that gap there at the top? Not a huge gap, but big enough. And then you can see that it kind of hangs over. So the bottom lines up perfectly, and then the top has a little bit of space. And there we are. Nice and easy. Tell me, are you guys doing any Halloween projects? Do you guys do a Halloween make? This one certainly made my Halloween season. I'm very, very pleased. It came out super cute. It's just what I wanted to do. There's no album or anything in it. There's no tricks to it, really. It's just cute and nice, and I like it. So there are 3 pieces that wrap around, and then the back piece just goes, and I should not have put glue on the top. Why did I do that? But luckily it's in the back, so you can't see it. But do not put glue all the way at the top of that. You can kind of see right here, like, look down, there's glue right there. Not a big problem because you won't be able to see it because the pumpkin bottom hides it, but you really don't want to do that on the sides, especially the sides and the front. And there we go. And now we have house siding. Well, not house siding, but panel siding, I guess. So for metal embellishments, you can always use alcohol ink. Sharpies will work to get a nice little blend. I'm using alcohol inks. Again, these are Ranger, I believe. And just a little felt tool here. So I put it on there and then I just dabbed it. And of course, everything has to be multiple colors. So I think I used like pink and purple for this little doorknob. And this is just one of the doorknobs by Ideology, I believe. After you're finished using these, like this, take your take your hand sanitizer and clean your tweezers or whatever you're using, because those tweezers gave me issues when I was doing other things. So this is where I wish I'd had Distress Collage Medium. I didn't. No worries. I have super glue. And it's a gel super glue. It's Gorilla Glue. And I was able to just put the little door handle down with a few seconds, and it was not an issue. It immediately stuck, but, you know, Collage Medium would have been better. And you'll see that you can clean that up with some hand sanitizer. And I was cleaning my fingers with the hand sanitizer. And it just takes that right up when you're working on a glass mat. So this is the spooky tree. After I put together the whole pumpkin house, then I went ahead and did the spooky tree. Probably one of the more difficult SVGs that I've ever put together. I actually had a mistake so big that I had to go back and like pull it out and recut and, you know, get it together. So, you know, I would say that this is probably one of the more advanced trees. It all fits together. It works. She did a great job as usual, but this one here, and I've put together plenty of projects, but this one here was not the easiest that I've ever put together. I ran the branches through that wooden panel. That's also another Sizzix embossing folder. And I used my Gemini Junior. And they don't fit perfectly in there, but you're just trying to get enough so that it's just got a wood grain kind of finish to it. This branch does not fit. Well, it's not the SVG branch. This branch actually came with the Tim Holtz author collection. So that's that bird that you'll see everywhere. Everybody's got the Arthur bird. It came out in the perfect timing for Halloween and Christmas. And so the spooky branch kind of fits with the tree, so you really can't tell that it is not part of the tree. So I put the whole tree together, and then I cut off one of the branches so that I could stick him in the tree so I could figure out where he was going. I knew he was going in a tree. I've seen everybody do him on a cardstock, but I haven't seen anybody put him in a tree yet. I don't know that anybody really wanted to take the time to put him in a tree, but I put him in a tree, and I'm super pleased that I did. I don't love the colors. This was my first time putting them together. I should have put Arthur together before, but whatever. You know, you get what you get, and you do not throw a fit. So again, I cut off one of the branches, and I cut a few of these branches, and I'm stacking them together to make them sturdy enough to put Arthur in this tree, because Arthur is heavy. What I should have done that I didn't do because I was being lazy is cut a popsicle stick or a skewer and attach it so that it was even more sturdy. But I didn't. Did I do it? No. You want to kind of make sure it's thin though, because you want Arthur's feet. I've seen people put Arthur's feet and his butt on the same side of the branch, and I don't like that. His feet should go on the front, and then his butt should be in the back so that it looks like he's sitting actually on the branch. The way Tim Holtz displays it, it's not like that, which is fine. It's just not my preference. I want his feet in the front and his butt and his like tail behind the branch so that it actually looks like he's perched on there. So again, I cut a few different layers of this, but I still wanted to keep it thin. Something else that I should have done is used hot glue. So his tail is actually sitting somewhere, so it's kind of, it's kind of sturdy, but you'll see. You'll see. So this is where I found out I can shoot Distress Oxide. I wanted to use Tim Holtz Distress Oxides to color the bird. I wish I had more colors. Turns out I think I only have like 14 of the colors out of what, 60? So maybe I need to finish that collection. This is me using the brand new Campfire color, seeing what it looks like. This is the quickest way to change colors in your airbrush. You shoot some water down in there, empty it out in your jar, and then just spray it out, and you should be good to go. You can change your colors without actually shampooing it and using all the cleanser and stuff. Nobody has time for that, especially with as many colors as I use. No, we just need to shoot some water down in there, empty the cup, and then shoot through whatever is left in there, and you can move on to your next color. So here I'm using Candied Apple in the oxide, but it turns out that it just sprays, it looks the same as the Campfire, and I wanted some more depth and dimension. Now, was this a waste of time? A little bit, because the only part of Arthur that you can really see, well, that's not true. You can see little pieces of him, but the majority of the body gets covered up, so I didn't necessarily have to do that great of a job here. The tail, you'll see a little bit, but not really. If I were doing this again, I guess I would do it the same way, but you just don't see very much of his body after the whole thing is pieced together. So I'm using a bit of Distress ink. Distress ink is more vibrant than Distress Oxides. So here I am using some Candied Apple or some Festive Berries. It's either Candied Apple or, I think it's Candied Apple or Festive Berries, one of the two. Just trying to get a darker red blend. I had no idea what color scheme I wanted for Arthur here, so it's a bit all over the place, and I don't love it, but who's gonna redo this? Because Arthur has a lot of pieces, and although I'm sometimes in the mood to paper piece, he had a lot of pieces. So this is him. I changed his belly because that yellow just was not, it was just too overbearing. Once I put him in the tree and with the pumpkin, it was just too much yellow. I was like, something's off. But he looks nice and grumpy the way I like him. And he's colorful. It's kind of like an owl parrot kind of thing going on, right? So I grabbed a couple more metal embellishments, and I'm using my alcohol inks to color them. And of course, we've got to use two tones because it's me. So how about that? And I used, what does it say? I think it says Foolish Mortals, and then I forget what the other one says, but they're Halloween-themed ideology embellishments. I think I got mine from Joann's. I'm pretty sure that's where, Joann's or Michael's. I don't think I ordered these. And so here I'm just using a red and a purple because, again, remember I told you it was just too much yellow on the front of that cottage. My fault. I really wish I had painted the front of that cottage fuchsia. Hate that I didn't do that. I should have started with fuchsia on the front, but again, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit. These are the tiny lights. These are the tiny Halloween lights. So one side is purple and one side is orange, and I thought that was kind of cool for the holiday. For the holiday to do two different colors. I think I ordered the Christmas ones are like Christmas light colors, but they're sold out everywhere. So we're kind of waiting on those to come back in stock. I am sticking these lights kind of where I want them to go specifically. And if I were doing this again, I would not put the light directly behind the vellum because you can't see the lady that I love so much. Like the light is overbearing a little bit. I took the rest of that grass and I'm gluing it down to some foam core that I just happen to have the perfect piece that was left over from another project. And you can cut this stuff together and piece it together, and you really can't tell where it starts and it stops. So I cut a bunch of different little pieces, and it was just enough to finish the whole thing, which was perfect. So now I'm taking some tape and I'm gluing these pumpkins down. Little pumpkin here, a little pumpkin there. And it actually stayed. I wondered if this was going to stay. I got these pumpkins from Joann's. They're like little, they feel like acorns, but they're little bitty pumpkins. And I'm shooting part of them. I wanted half of them to stay orange. So I'm shooting part of them with a white primer. And then I come back over the white primer with all the rainbow colors. I picked up this sheet of cardstock that's kind of glittery, and I drew a little pathway, and now I'm cutting it out with my scissors, which you never see me do. Usually I have my Cricut cut something out because I just don't trust myself. But the pathway worked, it was all right once I figured out which way it goes where. And I glued that down. And this is me putting the pumpkins down, guys. And that's pretty much the end of this project. If you guys made it the whole 25, 26 minutes, go ahead with your bad selves. You guys were in it to win it. This was such a fun project. I'm happy that it came out the way that it did. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section, and enjoy these upcoming pictures. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Bye-bye.